It's a grew day, and the breast is a wee bit clarty underfoot. Well, translated from Cumbrian English into Standard English, that means it's a raw, cold day, and the bank's a little bit muddy underfoot, and all those things are true. The Cumberland dialect has a lot of unusual words. Particular villages have unusual expressions. Here in the village of Bowness on Solway, people talk about their Scotland pocket and their England pocket. Well, this is my Scotland pocket because it's nearest to Scotland there across the Solway Firth, and this is my England pocket. That's a fishing expression. Well, there's more than jargon that's unusual about the Bowness fishermen. Not many of your fishermen's stories here. They're not given to that kind of a fisherman's tale. In fact, they very rarely admit to catching a fish at all. Also, salmon fishing here is not restricted to the privileged few. Here, fishing is something that everyone does, as long as he can walk as far as the water. Today, only a few men have braved the cold, but often you can see 30 or more strangely dressed and equipped figures trudging across the estuary, more like extras from a science fiction film than an innocent fishing party. This is the vicar of Bowness, the Reverend Maurice Allen. With him is his sexton, Mr. Bob Rome, and the licensee of the local pub, Mr. David Tunstall. They're all going half netting. It's a method of fishing that's practiced only here on the Solway, and which surely wouldn't be practiced even here if it wasn't the only method of fishing that's allowed. For hundreds of years now, the people of this area have been permitted to take their half nets, and between February and September, they've been graciously allowed to stand up to their necks in freezing water on the off chance that a salmon or a trout will swim into their half nets. Half netting is a way of catching fish that's feudal in origin, primitive in theory, and to the outsider it seems dangerous and uncomfortable in practice. The best time to fish is just when the tide is on the turn. And if these anglers don't watch the ebb and flow of the waters very carefully, they could easily be cut off by the rapidly rising waters. On a day like this, it may be hard to see the attraction of half netting, particularly as nobody ever seems to catch anything. How long will it take you to make a complete half net, Mr. Stafford?
A couple of days, but not an 8-hour day.
What, a 12-hour day?
Yes, a good 12-hour day.
Are there many people who make their own nets now?
Not so many now.
Now, you've been half net fishing for 40 years or more. Has it changed very much since
Not a little bit, just the same.
Does the fishing change very much from season to season?
You mean like as regards quantity of fish?
Yeah.
Yes. You might get a good season, you might get what we term a gale season. A lot of bad season altogether.
Yeah.
Where, well, the fish are conspicuous by their absence. That's a fair description.
What's the worst season you've ever had?
Nothing. Not a salmon. Not one salmon.
Well, in the old days, when people were trying to make a living out of this, they must have had a pretty thin time, didn't they?
Well, I've known practical men, real practical fishermen, go 16 weeks and never catch a salmon. Now, that's no exaggeration at all. That's just bare facts. And they had to live. There wasn't any outdoor relief or anything. Well, they wouldn't have gone on. There wasn't any doles or anything like that in those days. And sometimes when the seasons were really bad, well, the men left it. The most of them left it and found other jobs.
Well, Mr. Tunstall, you've had a couple of hours standing out there in the freezing cold, and one of you has caught one rather small salmon. Is it really worth it?
Well, it's relaxation for me, and I like the fresh air.
One of the things I noticed out there was that when I was standing in the water, and I wasn't as deep as you were, was the big drag, you know, with the tide was running. Now, with this net, aren't you in danger of being pushed over?
You could do, yes.
But have you ever been?
No, I've been half carried away.
Well, how do you avoid being carried away? I mean, what do you do when you find yourself in trouble? What's the...
You must hang on to this, what do you call this, half.
Yeah.
It'll float you with this, you know. So that's the thing to keep in mind.
When you came here as a schoolmaster 10 years ago, did people think it was... did you meet any hostility from the local fishermen when you started to do the half netting?
No, I was told that I would drown. They'd let me drown. But in actual fact, the first 2 seasons, I don't think I killed a fish. Whenever I got a fish in the net, somebody dashed up and killed it for me and saw that it went into my bag and generally sort of settled me comfortably again, and I had a great time.
Do you ever think you're going to drown?
Oh, I think everybody does at some time or other. Sometime or other you put a foot wrong and you know, and you get pretty frightened. The only thing is, of course, not to panic. You just go on and recover yourself.
Have you ever got into really bad trouble yourself?
Yes, more than once. I once went over the deep and went over to the other side altogether.
What, over to Scotland?
Yes, and I'm not the only one.
What happened exactly?
Well, I was fishing on what we term an aim, that's a ledge. And there was a big weight of rubbish came down, what we call dirt in the water, and it got into my Scotland pocket and the water was pulling off, and the Scotland leg of my boat broke.
The Scotland leg, that means the leg on the Scotland side?
That's right, on the deep.
Yeah.
And I went over into the deep.
Uh-huh.
Well, I went down, and to tell you the truth, I was frightened, make no mistake about that. But when I came up again and I thought I wasn't going to drown, I thought the best thing I'd better do was to see if I could get myself paddled over to the other side. So I gathered my net up, you know, and put it over the beam tight.
Uh-huh.
Kept hold of my beam the whole time. And tried to keep my head as far as possible. And the flood tide was coming up at the same time. And I eventually got over, and those 2 chaps got hold of me and pulled me out. And pulled me onto the sand, and then of course they tipped me up and ran the water out and pulled my boots off. That's all there was to it.
The people who really do get into trouble, people who get drowned, are they usually the newcomers, the ones who
Oh no, not necessarily. We had one man drowned a number of years ago who would fish all his life, and he knew the water better than anybody.
Would you say now, after 40 years, that you really know the
No,
Solway?
nobody else does. I tell you, the people that know the Solway, like the back of their hand, you only pick them up on that high water mark. That's where they're finished now.